Welcome to the WanderLearn-Podcast. I'm your host, Rejoice-Tapon. This is going to be a little bit different episode on the anniversary of the George Floyd killing. I want to go back to a review that I wrote for a book that came out soon after George Floyd was killed. And the book is called Good White Racist? Confronting Your Role in Racial Justice. It is by Kerry Connelly. You can buy it through the links below for about $10 on Amazon if you buy the ebook. And the paperback is worth about $17. I wrote this review as soon as I read it, but I had forgotten that I never converted it into a podcast or read it out loud. And of course, a lot of people just get my little diatribes on podcasts and not always checking out my website. So I'm just going to read my review and intersperse it with some additional commentary. I gave it 1 star, and here's why. My wife is a black African. She's from Cameroon. However, according to Kerry Connelly, I'm probably a good white racist anyway. With the George Floyd protests going on, Good White Racist is a timely book, so I wanted to read it. As other critics mentioned, Connelly's tone is condescending. I feel like the Spanish Inquisition has strapped me to a chair, and no matter what, I am a sinner. I'll quote the parts that make me want to vomit.
To the readers of the BIPOC,
which is an acronym that stands for Black Indigenous People of Color.
Beautiful soul, thank you for reading this far. You've done enough, borne enough of this weight.
Yuck. It's like a mother patting her little black child on the head as if the child is some fragile creature that must be coddled and pampered. The author falsely asserts, quote,
white people cannot be victims of racism. So-called reverse racism is just not a thing, people.
Actually, reverse racism is a thing. I've been to Africa and I've met some black Africans who are quite racist against whites. And those whites can be a victim of their racism. Just go to South Africa and you'll see many white farmers and just random white people who are attacked because they are white in South Africa. And that's just one example. I'm not saying it's widespread. I'm just saying reverse racism is a thing. It may not be a common thing, but it is a thing. The author is the classically politically correct person obsessed with quote-unquote microaggressions. Since she's treating us like babies, hasn't she heard about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me? Grow up, please, Kerry Connelly. She talks about quote-unquote gaslighting. For example, quote,
a white woman might touch a black woman's hair while telling her it's pretty.
According to the author's rules, quote,
this is inappropriate behavior.
Unquote. Rejoice, who is the name of my wife, loves when people compliment her or even touch her hair. And she has about 20 wigs and finds it hilarious how easy it is to fool white people. Of course, every person who gave this book 1 star, like I'm doing, is doing one of the most dreaded of the Ds. The Ds are deny, detract, distract, disclaim, and disappear. In my case, I commit the disclaim sin because I say I'm not a racist because my wife is a black African. You're damned either way if your skin is white, which, frankly, is a racist idea in itself. The author spouts a quote-unquote truism from one of her friends who has some color. She says, quote,
if the white people in the room are happy and comfortable, chances are the people of color in the room are not.
Unquote. Right. Of course. I'm sure some people of color feel that way, but to imply that it's universal is absurd. My wife spit out her drink when she heard that line and laughed so hard. It's also racist to suggest that people of color and whites all think the same way. Yes, this book is cringeworthy. I still feel a bit guilty blasting this book because Connelly means well. She wants to improve this planet and race relations. She wants white people to be more self-aware of their privilege and be more sensitive. These are noble goals. The problem is that her execution is atrocious and off-putting. Racism is terrible. So is this book. And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn-Podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to WanderLearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember FTapon. That's my first initial and my last name. FTapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at wanderlearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.